York is a city full of grand buildings, but Mansion House is perhaps one of its finest. Dating back many hundreds of years, it has housed some of the UK's most well-known historical characters, but with the upkeep as difficult as ever, then the process of some important maintenance.
Well, the Mansion House is the oldest purpose-built mansion house for a Lord Mayor in the country, and this is also one of the very earliest civic buildings to be built in the classical style. And if you can imagine the impact when this building was finished in 1732, York is pretty much a city of half-timbered buildings, very medieval, but in St Helens Square you've got this majestic, very classical building rising above everything. That's quite a statement by the council at the time. It's certainly, since it was built, it's become a focal point of York, but certainly for the council. You know, if you imagine all the kings, princes, princesses and queens that have been to the city generally end up here. In the past, demonstrations and protests ended up in St Helens Square, and as it still do today. So it's very much still a focal point in the community in that way.
Richard went into detail about the extensive work that takes place, explaining the latest project they're working on.
Well, I'm sure you appreciate that actually. The house like this takes quite a lot to maintain. It's a Grade 1 listed building. It's incredibly significant, not just in York, but regionally and nationally. So after the restoration, funded by the City of York Council and Heritage Lottery Fund and other donors and providers, we have a conscious effort now to keep the building maintained and in tip-top condition, and that's exactly what we're doing today. We have some problems with the north elevation. The paint's not adhering to the brick and stone as we had wished, so we've come back now to clean it, repaint it, and hopefully this time it will stay.
The council are always aware and pragmatic when it comes to the costing, but sees the real value of the house.
Obviously, we're never, regardless of the cost, we have to be entirely, I think, in terms of conscious of how much money is being spent. But I think you look at, for example, the Houses of Parliament down in London, the sheer cost of renovating those, I think, sort of two things. One, to make sure that we maintain capital investment within buildings such as this, so we were able to secure Heritage Lottery funding, which alongside capital from the council was able to do a major renovation recently. But from that point then it's important that we sort of make sure that we do the routine maintenance that ensures that those sort of major capital projects don't come up too often.
He believes the house has a story to tell for all visitors.
Well, I think each building in the city tells its own story about the life of people that have lived in York. So this was built in 1732. It was the first purpose-built residence for the Lord Mayor. I think as you go around, you see all the images of the Lord Mayor. I think we have Lord Mayor's Day in York once a year, the annual council. It really is a long tradition that we have in the city. And that's different characters, that's different people that have really influenced what's happened within the city of York.
Standing tall and proud in the centre of York, Mansion House is like no other in the city. But with maintenance frequent and costly, it's as important as ever to make the current work as successful as possible in the long run. Rory Ward, That's TV.